So,
Hey guys, welcome. Welcome to the sports department of WCLG. We're broadcasting from the sports information department of WCLG, where we also have plenty of sports gear for you to purchase if you'd like to come on down and check it out. Okay? Today we're going to talk about corporations. Corporations. First thing you got to remember is that corporations are a creature, are a creation of law. They came over to the colonies, to the English colonies from England, and have spread across the United States. Many other countries have corporations, but not all of them are like ours. So you got to determine what kind of corporation, or what, if you're looking at different states or different countries, you got to determine what kind of corporation there may be. But anyway, California has a whole book on corporate laws. It's probably this thick. And it is full of corporation laws that you have to understand if you're going to deal with corporations. There are lots of different kinds of corporations. The first is a general stock corporation. It's just your average run-of-the-mill kind of corporation, where you buy stock in it, or you may set it up yourself and own it, but it's just a general stock corporation. It's for profit. But there are also non-profit corporations, which you can set up, and you can, if you get the appropriate approval from the state of California and from the IRS, you can be free of income taxes on income, and you won't have to pay any taxes on your assets and stuff like that. So that's the nonprofit corporation. We also have professional corporations. That's like for doctors, lawyers, accountants, etc. Professional corporations. If you have a professional license to practice a profession in the state of California, you can set up a professional corporation. We also have what's called a closed corporation, which is a very small corporation, usually a family. It's set up to only have a few owners, and but we don't use that much anymore. You still see them around sometimes, but not terribly often. All right? So those are some of the kinds of corporations that you can have in California. Now, the biggest thing you need to know about a corporation is that it is limited liability. In most circumstances, all you can lose is the money that you've already invested in the corporation. Remember when we talked about sole proprietorships and partnerships, that you can lose not only the money that you've invested in the business, but they can also find you liable for the debts of the sole proprietorship or the partnership, and your personal assets are at risk. They can find you liable and take your personal assets to pay the debts of the business. That is not the case with a corporation. With a corporation, you have limited liability. Now remember, last week we talked about two other limited liability entities. One was the LLC, a limited liability company, and two was a limited partnership. A corporation is exactly the same. The shareholders of a corporation have limited liability. They can't lose any more money than they've invested in the corporation, except under certain circumstances. Now, if you have personally guaranteed debt of a corporation, and you can be held liable for that debt, even if you are a stockholder and there's limited liability in general. If you have personally guaranteed it, the second time that you can do it is if you have, if you're the personal representative of a corporation for tax purposes, for payroll tax purposes. If you are the person of personal responsibility for that corporation, you may be held liable for payroll taxes. The other thing is, if it pierces the corporate veil, you may very well be liable as well. And we'll talk about piercing the corporate veil in a lecture or two. Okay? Now, a corporation is a legal person. It is not a tangible legal person, but it is a legal person. You must always treat that corporation as if it's a legal person. I tell my clients, when they have a corporate meeting, they must have all the people, the directors and the officers and whoever, but they also pretend that the corporation is sitting there in a chair and is part of that meeting. So you've got to make sure that you treat that corporation as if it is a person, and be sure that you do all of the appropriate kinds of things to make sure that you treat that corporation as a person, else you could lose your limited liability. Okay, folks, that's it. We're going to change sets for a new lecture in just a minute. And in the meantime, if you want to drop on down by the studios of WCLG to take a look at our merchandise, bass balls, hats, other assorted gear, feel free to come on down. And thanks a lot.